let's get into this. Today I'm reviewing the 93 Fox 20th Century Classic SANDLOT. 20th Century Fox Classic SANDLOT, sorry. It's a film by Dave Evans, I think his name is. He's basically responsible for its sequels, First Kid, Ed, basically a lot of 90s classics. And, well, in my opinion, it's a good flick. Well, let me start from the beginning. Well, it basically starts out like there's this guy narrating, he's going in to commentate, be a sports commentator for a baseball game. And as he's doing that, he's reminiscing about his past life when he had his childhood where he had a great, awesome experience where he made friends, etc. That it basically starts out, the flashback basically starts out that his soon-to-be friends are playing a ball game with another neighborhood ball team, and they win. And as they're headed home, they run across the narrator, Scotty Smalls, and he's a little bit shy, nervous, because he's new. He's a new dude, and doesn't have a lot to say. That's making friends right at the point. And he starts talking about how he became friends with those guys and how he had a bond with their leader, Benny. And at first he's a little like, he also not only talks about that, but he talks about his relationship with his parents, that his mom remarried, and first it was awkward, but slowly became something cool. The dad had a lot of sports memorabilia, and the one thing that he prized most was a Babe Ruth autograph ball, which probably worth a lot of money, even to this day. I don't really know. And well, every now and then he kept asking him to teach me to play catch, because, well, he wasn't any good at it. And there was an incident where, he goes and he sneaks to this area that these kids go to all the time. It's a little hangout area called the SANDLOT. And he followed the guys there, and he's like, maybe I can make friends with these guys. So he's there and he's trying to learn, and they toss the ball, and they finally notice he's there, so they call him, they're like, hey, watch out, man. And he takes one to the face, and he gets up, the ball rolls to the fence, and he's like, it's alright, guys, I'm cool, I'll go get it for you. He's like, don't weird this out, don't mess this up, you need friends. And he reaches his hand in, grabs it, and goes back, and they're like, yo, while we're young, man. And the kid can't throw. I mean, he barely, what he does is just like a little kid trying to throw. It's just gonna land a few feet from him, and everyone starts laughing, so he runs away in shame. And of course their leader sees that and feels sorry for the guy, thinking that his posse's basically being jerks. So, and then again it's night, and then it goes to being nighttime, and he talks about how pretty soon he's gonna be friends with those guys, etc. And he starts playing while he's making hot chocolate milk and playing with his toys or whatever. And while he's playing with his toys, he accidentally hits his mother in the face when she comes to tell him to basically go to bed. And he apologizes. She talks to him. She's like, are you alright? Have you made any friends yet? He goes, no. She's like, why not? He's like, because I'm still new. She's like, I want you to try making friends this time. Go out there, have fun, be a kid. Don't sit in the room feeling sorry for yourself. Get out there. And he's like, but I'm still new. I'm an A kid. No one's gonna want to be around me. He's like, well, with that attitude, that'll always happen. You just gotta change that. And then next thing you know, it's of course it goes to morning, and he gets he they get ready for I don't know if it's lunch or breakfast or something like, and of course his mom's like, "Did you talk to your stepfather? Did you talk to him?" He's like, I can't. He's busy. I don't want to be rude." He's like, "No, no, no. Go ask him." And of course, he goes over to the stepfather, played by Diego himself. I say just Diego when he was younger, and asked him, "Could you teach me to play catch?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure. After I'm done doing the bills." He's like, "Okay," and he walks away. But of course, the mom pops up. He's like, "You think you can take a break and just teach the kid?" He's like, "I will, but just let me finish this. This is important." He's like, "You can take a break and then come back later, can't you?" He's like, "Yeah, you know what? I can." So like, it's for a few minutes. Let me get the gloves. So they go to the backyard, and the little kid he stinks. Not to be mean, but he stinks. Ironically, he's better at playing hockey. Mighty Ducks reference. Another time to that, please. Stupid. Fighting on him. Well, anyway, he's playing with his stepdad, and his stepdad's teaching him. He's like, "Okay, throw me the ball," and the kid can't throw, so he just like rolls it on the floor, and every time the stepfather tosses it to him, he's blocking it or dropping it, trying to pick it up. And then he's like, "You gotta keep your eye on the ball, and wherever it goes, your glove goes." Okay, and then finally he throws it, and the kid finally catches it. Ironically, he catches it right in his eye and ends up with a nasty shiner. I know I'm laughing at that. That's bad, but still, this movie you gotta just watch it. Anyway, they're worried. They get a stake, shove it on his eye to get the swelling go down. Of course, this movie was set like in the 60s and 50s, 60s, so of course that makes sense. And of course the stepfather apologizes, and he's like, "You gotta watch out for that. You gotta watch out for the curveball. It's hard." And of course, he's there, just outside, kind of pity partying because he broke his glove that his grandmother gave him when he was like 6 years old. And of course, in comes the leader of the Misfits, the Sandlot kids, Benny, who also came out on Mighty Ducks, just like our narrator, which again I'll get to in another time. And he tells him, "Hey, we're gonna go play baseball. You want to come? We need another guy. So you won't play?" He's like, "Yeah, I'd love to, but my glove's broken. I can't play." He's like, "It's cool. I got another one. Come on, let's go." And he goes with him, and he's like, Benny introduces him to the group, and of course he's awkward. And as he's introducing them, they're all spitting like. He's like, "This is him. This is This is a virtual room. Blah blah blah." He's naming them all, and as he's naming them all, they're spitting, and it's funny. And he's like, "Hey guys," he's like, "Okay, well, now the introduction's out of the way. This is our new teammate." And like, "Come on, let's go to the tunnel." He's like, "But it's early, dude. Why do we have to go?" He's like, "Come on, let's go." And they go, and of course they're bad mouthing Smalls. That's his name. That's his nickname. And they're like, "Why'd you bring this guy? He stinks." He's like, "Yeah, but we need a ninth person to play correctly." And he was like, "Yeah, but he stinks, man. You know he stinks. You know he sucks." He's like, "Yeah, but ever since and they're like, "Besides, the only one that was ever good was the Ellsworth, our original guy that was good." And he's like, "This guy stinks." And they start making fun of him, and he looks at them. He's like, what's wrong with him? You guys have faults too." I mean, he's like, you run like a duck," and of course making one of his friends kind of want to cry, and they start laughing at him. He's like, "But you're still part of my team, right?" He's like, "Yeah, we're cool." And he's like, "Well, how come he don't get to be?" He's like, "Well, because he's a nerd." He's like, "You guys are douchebags." well, he says blockheads. I'm just using my own terms. And he tells the guy, um, of course, Smalls is having trouble, throwing the ball, catching it. They're playing, and he's telling him where to go, how to stand, how to do his stance, how to throw, and everything. And of course, he's having trouble, and he's being doubting. He's like, I think I better go. I'm just messing up the game, And they're just making fun of it because he has to stop and help him, and all this stuff. And it's so funny. And he's like, no, 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 no. Here, you just gotta have fun. You gotta stop thinking, man. If you were having fun, you would have caught the ball. You would have had fun, dude. Come on, you gotta do this. You gotta try. And and he's holding up his hand in the air, and he's basically praying and hoping to God that he catches it in the glove and not in the eye again. And of course, when Benny hits it to him, everyone's like, really, you're gonna hit it to this guy again? And of course, he catches it, and everyone's freaking out. And he throws it to his next teammate, and they all start getting good, and they're like, oh, we knew he was good all the time. And then, like, finally, he's already in the group. They accept him in the group, and everyone likes him, everyone loves him, everything like that. So they're good. And next thing you know, what's funny is that in the background he hears like snarling, grunting, or whatever, and he sees the shape of an animal or a beast or whatever, and he's freaking out. And it's like you hear the music, it's so ominous, like this is the threat, this is the big threat of the movie. And you don't really see it, but you know what it is because of the shape, so you're guessing basically. And then it goes to them being done with the game. They go home, and he's talking with umpire guy Ham, who's played by the guy from, I don't know if anyone knows him now, but he was the brother from Son-in-Law, the brother of the main female lead in Son-in-Law, which I'm gonna review that one day. He was also in for teenagers back in the early 2000s, movie called Dorm Days. He's been in a lot of movies. I don't know if he's still acting right now, but he was one of my favorite actors. He was in Green, Big Green. But anyway, back to the story. When they get home, he tells them, "Hey man, next time come in a t-shirt and jeans, and if you got a fireplace, toss that hat in there, dude." And he's like, "Well, this is all the only hat I got." And he's like, "Well, I have a spare here. You can keep it." He's like, "Well, what about your glove? Don't you need that back?" He's like, "Nah, I got another one. No, you're fine." He's like, "Cool, I made a friend." He runs inside. He's like, "Mom, guess what? I made a friend. And the next day, they're playing baseball, and of course Ham's at bat, and he's being a goof. He's like, "I'm gonna show you how to do this right. This is how you play Smalls. You gotta watch." And he's just mocking like Babe Ruth and stuff, and everyone's just laughing, and they're tossing him like nothing but balls that he's hitting. He's missing. It's like, "Come on, that's weak. You gotta give me the good stuff." And so of course their pitcher named Nunez throws him his fastball called the heater, and of course you think he's gonna miss it, but he doesn't miss it. He hits it to the neighbor, to the house next door, and I think it hits a wall. Hits glass because you hear psh, and of course everyone's like rioting against him, calling him a moron for that because they can't play, and they're chasing him down, wanting to beat him up, and he's just laughing and taking. He's like, "Yeah, I won." Yes, and of course Smalls is like, "You guys don't fret, I'll go get the ball for you," and he goes. They go, and when he's going, they're like freaking out, and they run after him, and they're like, "No, no," and they're pulling him down. And he's like, "What are you guys doing? Get off me!" He's like, "What was that for?" He's like, "We don't want you to die, man." He's like, "How am I gonna die?" He's like, how am I gonna die? I was just getting the ball." He's like, we don't get the ball. It's gone. Leave it alone." He's like, "We'll just get another one tomorrow." He's like, why? He's like, the beast, man. He's in the backyard. It's like, what the heck is the beast? And they're like, uh, look through that hole in the fence and just look for a while. Be quiet. He's like, I don't know. He's like, just go and look. Of course, he goes and looks, and the ball's right there. And 2 seconds later, this big pole pops out and it takes the ball. And he runs and he's like, what the heck is that thing? And their response is like, time to camp out, man. And they of course have a sleepover at the Sandlot, and they have an awesome tree fort there, so they're all camping up in there. And of course he gets there and he's like saying, I'm sorry I'm late, I had to do my chores. And they're like, of course, Bertram makes fun of him, and Ham's like, yo man, you want a s'more? And they basically make that running joke of, I don't have, how can I have a s'more of more of nothing? I haven't had anything yet. He's like, of course, he says the line that everyone knows because the shirt's from Hot Topic or whatever. You're killing me, Smalls, and he instructs him like, here's a s'more. And of course, in the background, you hear the kids like, dude, you're gonna set the place on fire. Dude, that looks good. Give me some. And he's like, yeah, I don't like that chocolate. And then, of course, they're playing around, and then of course, Squints, the narrative of the geek group, who's also a good ladies man, but I'm gonna get to that point in a little bit. He tells them the origin of the monster next door, where supposedly there was a lot of thieveries and everyone was scared. So this guy named Mr. Myrtle, who's the neighbor next door, played by Darth Vader himself, James Earl Jones / Mufasa, he gets a guard dog and he feeds him nothing but garden and meat, and makes him big and aggressive and strong and all this stuff, and he goes after all the robbers and things. And so like everyone thinks, like, when people go missing, they're like wondering what happened, and like they find out it's the dog has been eating people supposedly. And so they tell, you know, you gotta tie up the dog and leave him in the back forever. And of course, when he asks how long, for a while, and he's like, for how long? And they're like, forever. And of course, they explain to Smalls like, that's the reason why you can't go over that fence. Nobody has ever or ever will. And of course, Ham's like, one kid did, but no one ever seen him again. And then it's like, that's not true, dude. He's like, yeah, it is, dude. He got eaten. And of course, Smalls doesn't believe him. He's like, I don't believe you guys. Y'all are just making this up to freak me out. It's like, you don't believe us? Look over at the backyard. And of course, he looks, and we don't see what's back there, but the narrator, his grown-up self, tells us that when he looked down there, he didn't see not a single ball. All he saw was the dog, and it freaked him out. And of course, they're like, whatever goes over that fence is going to stay there and become the property of the beast forever. And of course, the next morning, while they're playing ball, and they run across their rivals. I don't know why, how they're rivals. You know, they're barely introduced. I would have expected the guys from the beginning to be the rivals or something. You know, they show up and they start making fun of them. You know, saying that they're wimps, they're lazy, they don't have an actual field or whatever. And so, of course, Ham jumps in and he starts insulting. They start trading insults with the leader of a rival ball team. You know, which is one of my favorite scenes, by the way. And it's so funny, you know. And one insult sets over the edge where it's like, you play ball like a girl. So they're like, what'd you say? Like, basically, that's a low blow, dude. And he's like, okay, we're gonna play. We're gonna play our own thing. We're gonna do our own thing. And so they meet him and they play the ball. They play ball. Oh wait, no, I'm jumping ahead of myself. I'm sorry. It's because, you know, that movie is just so ingrained in my head. Well, after the whole thing with the story, backtracking. Again, I apologize for jumping. I was just, that movie's just so ingrained in my head that I like certain parts. Um, well, anyway, let me backtrack a bit in my mind here. What happened is, after they tell the story, of course, there's a scene where they go by Squints and Yaya, which Squints is called Squints because he always has glasses, and Yaya is called that because he always says yeah. They go by a ball, and of course, Yaya wants to hold it, but Squints won't give it to him. And as soon as he like, the funny part is like they're fighting with the ball, and then suddenly he stops and he gives them the ball, and he's like, he's drooling, and he's like, dude, what the heck is wrong with you? And he's like, Wendy Peppercorn, and she's walking past him, and as she's walking past, he's checking her out, eyeballing her, and of course you hear the song, the famous song, "There Goes My Baby." Of course, the only one snapping out of it is yeah. He's like, "Where you guys been? We've been waiting here forever, man." It's like, Squints was gawking at a chick, man. He's like, "No, I wasn't, you liar." He's like, yeah, you were. Your tongue was hanging out your head and you were drooling. Wendy Peppercorn, I love you. And he's like, dude, shut up. I got a lot of things on my mind. And it's a scorcher this time. It's real hot because it's summer. They're basically crying to their leader, like, it's hot here, dude. We can't play. And he's like, it's 150 degrees out there. We can't play baseball. We have to call it. And of course, he's like, first he tells them, okay, if y'all want to call it, y'all are deemed wimps, man. Y'all want to be wimps? He's like, yeah, we're cool with wimps. He's like, fine, be like that. So what are we gonna do? He's like, go to the pool. So of course they go to the pool, and the narrator chimes in like, that's the closest thing they ever get to seeing what a woman looks like, because none of them have ever actually looked at women, or even in nudie mags or anything like that. And of course, while this is going on, Ham's like checking out the girls, and he's like macking to them, like, ooh, hi, what's up, hottie, what's up, baby, and they're just staring at him, and then like he's flexing, and he does a cannonball in the pool, and he wets the girls, and they run away. And then of course they're playing, and the narrator explains like, we didn't really come for the pool, the babes, we honestly came because Squints' crush was a lifeguard, and of course she was there putting sunscreen on, and they're talking about how pretty she is, and when they're talking about how pretty she is, Squints like starts staring at her, and he gets all excited, and he's like, I can't take this no more, get out of my way. So he decides to go to the deep end where not a high dive, but a diving board is at, right where she's at, and he's staring at her, and he takes off his glasses, and they're like, dude, I don't think that's a good idea, man, he can't swim, and that's a deep end, dude. And of course he jumps in, and he's there, and everyone's freaking out. It's like, somebody help him, he can't swim. So of course his crush jumps in there, gets him out, they lay him down, and they're giving mouth to mouth, and everyone's like, come on, dude, you're alive, you're good, you're golden, you're good, you're alright, man, come on. And he's like, I don't think he's gonna make it, I think he's gonna die. And like they're just like freaking out, and then next thing you know, they notice that his eyes are winking, and they're like, well, what the heck is going on? The second she touches, like her lips touch his, he gives her a big smooch. I don't know if he slips some tongue or just kisses her. And she, like, by the time he lets go, she looks at him, she gets mad that she bans them. And of course, he admits it was all set up. Them coming to the pool was all set up so he can plant a kiss on her. And of course, Ham goes and he tells everyone he planned it. It was all set up, he planned it. And as this is going on, Squints is looking up at the tower and checking out his dream girl, and she looks at him and basically says, looks at him like, you naughty boy. And of course Smalls, grown up Smalls, that's narrating states that every time, even though they were banned from the pool, every time they walked past there to get to the Sandlot, she always checked out Squints and she always smiled. So what does that tell you? And well, after that, of course, it's nighttime and they get a. Benny goes to get Smalls and all of them, and of course they're having their 4th of July barbecue, whatever it is, on the street, while the kids are running to the Sandlot to have a game. And and the reason why it's happening, even though the Sandlot has no lights, is that every time on the 4th of July there's so many fireworks that light up the sky. So that's why they have the game during that time, during the nighttime. And and of course the narrator states that every time they stop to stare at the fireworks, he was there to snap him out of it, tell him get back in the game. And of course, after that, that's when it goes to morning and they're playing, and then next thing you know, that's when the bullies show up. I'm back to where I left off, where the bullies show up, whom we never even met or even understand why they're rivals. They just show up and everyone's like mad, and you just see like it's the line is drawn and it's war, that these guys don't like each other, and it's not explained why. And of course, their rivals are mocking them. The like, man, but of course they like Benny, they like Rodriguez, they like the leader, and they're like, dude, why are you playing with these wimps, man? You could playing with our team. And he's like, shut up. And of course, that's when the insults are traded, like, you eat dog poop for breakfast. You make your Wheaties with your mama's toe jam. You fart smelling, and like back and forth, back and forth. And of course, the trigger is Ham tells them, "You play ball like girls. You play ball like a girl." And he's like, "What? That's an insult." And he's like, "Okay, you're gonna meet us tomorrow and play us on our field." And of course, they go. And they're playing, and it's funny because when the rivals are up, the Sandlot kids rivals are up, Ham's like psyching them all out. He's making fun of them and mocking them, and then when his team is up, they whip them, of course, because it's their movie. And to celebrate, they go to the carnival, and of course, Bertram brings out tobacco, and they begin to chew it. As they're chewing it, they decide to go on a ride. I don't know which ride it is or what it's called, a Tilt-A-Whirl or something like that. And the tobacco mixed with the inertia of the ride causes them to blow chunks everywhere, all over people, all over the floor. And when it's done, they're calm. And then it goes to morning, and of course, the mom's taking the dad, his stepdad. She's like, "I'm gonna take him to the airport so he can go to work," and he tells him, "Okay, boy, while I'm gone, you're the man of the house, all right?" He's like, "Yes, sir." And of course, it goes to him and his friends, getting a ball, and they go to play. And of course, this is when things get interesting, because like the narrator said, this is when the trouble started, and things got even worse. Well, during the game with the ball, it gets so intense, and of course, Benny gets all into it to the point where he basically snaps the ball in two, busting the guts out of it, they called it. And everyone's all shocked and freaked out about it. They're like, "Dude, not a lot of people have ever done that. Maybe that's a sign." And he's like, of course, he's mad because I messed up the day for us, man. We can't play no more. And he's like, and of course, Smalls is like, "Dude, yeah, we can play." He's like, "What, you got 98 cents at your house?" And he's like, "No, I got a ball." He's like, "Well, go get it." So he goes and he gets it. He's like, "Yes, I got the ball, I got the ball, I got the ball." He's like, "Here." He's like, yeah, but since you have it, you get to hit it." And of course, Ham's ripping on him, making fun of him so he could psych him out. And of course, but on like the third or second try, he knocks it out of the park, and it lands next door. and they like praise him. They're like, dude, you did it, man, you're the man. And he's just like, you look at him and he looks like he's crapping his pants. He's like, what the hell did I just do? And they're like, dude, you're supposed to go to the next base. He's like, what's wrong with you? I was like, maybe the shock of getting a home run was too much for him. He's like, we gotta go get that ball. He's like, nah, man, why don't you go buy another one? He's like, no, you don't get it. He's like, we have to get the ball. And he's like, why? And he's like, what's so important about that ball? It's like, it was my stepdad's. I stole it. I stole it, man. It wasn't my ball. It's like, where did he get the ball? And he's like, some lady gave it to him. He's like, what lady? He's like, oh, some lady named Baby Ruth. And he's like, what? So they run and they hop the fence and they look at the ball and it's right there. And within 2 seconds, of course, the dog gets it. And they're like, the beast got it. You're dead as a doornail, man. And you mean to tell me you went and swiped the ball that from your dad that was signed by Babe Ruth and brought it here to play with? Are you nuts? He's like, yeah, but I was gonna put it back. He's like, but it was signed by Babe Ruth. He's like, yeah, but who the heck is that? And they look at him like, what in the world are you talking about? And they of course they explain, he's the Sultan of SWAT, the Titan of Terror, the Colossus of Cloud. And he's like, that same guy y'all been talking about since we met, that's who that is. And then of course they explain it more that he was basically MVP, you know, he was the god of baseball and all that stuff, and the ball that he just shot to the beast is worth millions of dollars. And he's like, I don't feel so good, I think I'm gonna be sick. He's like, we gotta get that ball back. He's like, well, when does your stepdad get home from work? And he's like, he's gone out of town, but he could be back anytime. Sorry. And he goes, okay, we'll find out when. He was like, guys, spread out and look for a bottle, and we're going to go cash it in. We need 98 cents. We're going to go buy us a ball. So they go and they buy a fake ball, and a baseball, and they give it a fake signature of Babe Ruth, so he can put it there as a placement holder until they get their old ball back. And of course the mom is looking for him and she starts talking with him and he's like, are you okay? He's like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm just looking at the baseball. He's like, you know he doesn't like you to mess with his stuff. And he's like, oh, I know, I'm sorry. And he walks out. About right when he's about to walk out, mom's like, has he ever told you about that? So he's like, no. And of course she tells him the same thing the kids told him, that Babe Ruth signed the ball and he was the best player that ever lived. And of course his older son is stating like, that was painful right there, because even his mom knew who Babe Ruth was and he still didn't know, and he felt douchey. And of course the mom's like, your stepdad's father gave it to him, so maybe one day he'll give it to you. And of course it goes to them thinking of a way to get the ball away from the dog. And excuse me, sorry. And of course the only sensible answer was Smalls. But then again, if they did that right away, the movie would have ended quickly. He's like, why don't we just go over, knock on the door, and ask Mr. Myrtle if he can give it to us? And of course, Squints is like, are you out of your mind, dude? That dude's a psycho. He's the one that used to feed the kids and the bad guys to that dog. It's not an option. He's like, let's just look out the window. And of course, they see that the dog spits out the ball, basically baiting them like, come and get me. Come and get it, if you dare. So they come up with some ideas, trying to think of how to get it. And most of them don't even really work. And those that do mess up in some way, because they go through every little plan known to man back then, from using a pole, a wooden pole that gets bitten off, then using a metal metal pole or something like that tied to bolted with a pot, which the dog stops and crushes it, and then they decide to use another form of attack where they get these what do you call it, vacuums, and they tie them together and make this little suckage thing, and they suck up the ball. But the beast comes in, he snaps the pipe, and when he snaps the pipe, it causes the vacuums to reverse suck the dust, which causes it to explode, and everyone's running away because they don't want to get caught up in the thing. And so what happens is one of them gets stuck in the explosion and ends up all dusty. It's like, we need to go above to try and see if it works. So trying to see if we can get it. Maybe he won't expect us. So of course they get and they put him in a harness. They put him in the catcher's outfit, and they put him in a little harness, and they take him up and they put him in there, and he gets the ball. 2 seconds later, when he barely touches the ball, the dog's right there by face to face with him, like close to his face. Like, do you even really think you could do that? And then right there, he screams and he's like, pull me up, and and of course when he's screaming, he drops the ball and he's freaking out. So, and then of course it goes to the final one where they're like, you know what, I had to pull out all the stops. I got every piece of machinery I had, and it was science against nature. So they make this like little rover thing that they send through a little tunnel thing, and it has a catapult. And so they get to the ball, and they're about to bring it, but the dog comes, so they launch it, and right when they launch it, they're like, yes, we're gonna get it, we're gonna catch it. And then right then and there, that's when the dog, you actually see his face, and he looks like a big monster, swallows the ball, and then like tears apart the erector set. And of course they're all sad because they failed, and Smalls is more sad than anybody. So he starts having nightmares that he failed, but his leader has a dream that gives him advice, where he meets Babe Ruth, and Babe Ruth basically tells him, he gives him advice how to deal with it. And of course he's all fanboying. He's like, you're the Sultan of SWAT, the Titan Interior. He's like, yeah, I am. Please don't give me any more of those names. He's like, I'm here to help you solve your problem. He's like, yeah, how can you help me do that? He's like, well, they say you lost a baseball with my name on it over a fence, and you can get it back, right? He's like, yeah. He's like, well, why don't you just hop over there and get it? And he's like, and then of course he's about to leave, but the kid stops him. He's like, I can't do that. He's like, why can't you? He's like, there's a monster back there. And he's like, what kind? He's like, a giant dog that ate somebody already, that already injured somebody or ate somebody. He's like, okay, sit down. He's like, everyone's got a calling, and you can either choose to ignore it or pretend it's not there, or you can step up and try. And he goes, remember when you busted the baseball in two? He's like, yeah. He's like, the man upstairs is telling you something, and if I were you, I'd listen. And he goes, so you're basically saying, and right when he's about to leave, he asks him, can I have this baseball card? He's like, yeah, sure. He's like, okay. And he's like, wait, let me understand this. Let me see if I understand this. You want me to hop over that fence and mess with that dog? He's like, think about it. I'll see you later. And he's like, never forget, there's heroes and legends. Heroes get remembered, but legends never die. Just follow your heart and you'll never go wrong. And of course, it's morning, and he wakes up small, and he's like, we gotta go to SANDLOT. He's like, okay. And of course, they get there, and he brings out their version of Nike or Fila called PF Flyers. And of course, they make it seem like those are the it shoes, of course, they were back then. And he basically told them what he was going to do, and they're freaking out because they don't want to lose their leader, And he's like, I'll do it, it's suicide, it's my fault. And he's like, no, it has to be me. So he jumps over the fence, and he's watching for the dog. And of course, the dog shows up and chucks the ball, and basically daring Manny, like, come at me, boy, let's do this. So of course, it's like a western showdown. You hear western music, and he's running like the Flash, and he catches the ball, and he's running from the dog, and he jumps over the fence back to the SANDLOT. Everyone's happy to see him. And 2 seconds later, the dog jumps over the fence, and so he's running from the dog like all over town, from you know, to from the alleyways to the Fourth of July picnic causing a causing a mess, tipping over everything, tossing everything gets thrown around, landing on people and all that. And then the movie theater, he like tear through the screen. Everyone's ironically everyone's watching The Wolfman, of course, and they end up at the pool. The cutest part ever is where mom and her boy are there, and he's like, "Look, mommy, there's a doggy." And he's like, and the little boy's like, "Ooh, that's a big doggy." And of course they pick up the kids and they get out of the way, and they're still running and running. Of course, his crew is like chasing after them, like way behind. By the time they're about to really catch up to him, he's already on the way back. He's like, "Come on, guys, we gotta go back to Sandlot." He's like, "Okay, I know a shortcut. Let's go." Of course, they make it there before him, and he's barely getting there, and he finally jumps the fence with the dog. Jumps the fence, and the dog bites him. Well, bites his shirt and tears through the fence because he can't go over. Again, I don't know why he can't, but he can't. Oh, sorry. Sorry about the yawning. Well, anyway, like when he's there, the dog tears through the fence, and which causes the fence to basically mess up and fall on the dog. And Smalls is the only one Smalls at first is the only one trying to lift the thing to help the dog because he's asking his friends, help me get the dog out of there. He's hurt, and they're just staring at him like, why? Why should we help it? It's evil. And he's begging, and he finally tells Benny like, I need help, man. He's hurt. I can't lift this thing. Help me out. And he helps him, and then of course the dog gets out, and he's staring Smalls down, and they're looking at him like, oh God, he's gonna get eaten. 2 seconds later, the dog is basically giving him a bunch of kisses, and then leads them to a area in the junkyard where he digs it up, and there's every single ball that they ever threw back there, and they're like, yay, now we can play forever. And of course they knock on their neighbor's door and telling him, we brought your dog home. And of course it's James Earl Jones, Mufasa, Darth Vader. And he's like, yeah, what's up? He's like, we brought your dog home, sir. He's like, Hercules, how did he get out? And of course you hear Squint's like, dudes, we gotta get out of here. He's gonna feed us to that dog. He's gonna feed us to that dog. We're gonna die. And of course, goes back to Smalls and Benny, like explaining the whole situation. He's like, yeah, we actually had a ball over here and we're trying to get it back. He's like, so that was you guys making all that noise. Did you get what you needed? And of course, they handle the ball. It's all chewed up. He's like, first time that anyone's ever gotten the best of my dog. He's like, if you guys would have just came to my door and asked me to get it, I would have gotten it for you, saved you the trouble. And of course, they start beating up on Squids because he started all this mess, and he's like, didn't we get the ball back? He's like, but we almost got killed because he's like, but we got the ball back, leave me alone. Of course, Mr. Myrtle tells Benny and Smalls to come in so they can talk, and he tells him, you're in trouble, right? You're in deep doo-doo, right? He's like, yeah, that's my stepdad's ball. I take it without permission. It was signed by Babe Ruth. He's like, George signed this? He's like, George Herman Ruth? Yeah. He's like, yeah, you're not in trouble, man. You're dead where you stand. And he goes, well, I can fix that. So he pulls out his own ball, which is signed by every single one of the players that was on his team, because apparently he played ball with Babe Ruth, and he tells him the origin of it. He's like, I used to crowd the plate, I used to make everyone not like me. I was good. I almost broke his Babe Ruth's record, but one fast one to the face, and they're like, you went blind. He's like, yep. It's like, but baseball's still life. It's like, you guys can have the ball, and he offers them the ball. He's like, yeah, but why would you trade us this for that? So I'm just like, I have a bunch of stuff here, as you can see. You guys need it more than I do. And of course, he has a lot of memorabilia, and he tells them, he's like, but we can't take this ball. He's like, no, keep it. It's like, just promise me one thing, that you guys are gonna come see me every once in a while. We'll talk baseball. And he's like, that's a deal. So, of course, he goes home, and his stepdad's there, and he gives him the messed up ball and the new ball. And ironically, the guy was very civil because instead of going postal for the ball, he just grounds him for a few weeks. And then, of course, they go to the Sandlot where everyone's playing. He's playing ball with his dad. First, he's playing ball with his dad. He's like, I finally can relax and call him dad. And they're playing, and he talks about how if anyone in his team ever moved away or something happened, they wouldn't replace him. They just kept going. And of course, he backtracks and tells us what each and every one of them has done. Nunez basically used to play ball, and then he ends up being a coach for his son's little league team called Heaters. Ham becomes a professional wrestler. Yaya, and basically was responsible for bungee jumping because of what happened. The two little ones that are always repeating each other, and then became contractors and designers and became millionaires. Squints marries his crush Wendy Peppercorn and they have 9 kids, which is wow, awesome. And of course, Bertram, the nerd, one of the other ones in there, all it says is that he just disappeared. And of course, Ham, the great Hambino, he becomes a wrestler. And of course, Smalls just moves away, but the Sandlot was still there, and Benny, of course, stayed there playing, and it's revealed that he becomes a professional baseball player and very popular, and it's revealed that he's at the same game that Smalls is at, giving the play-by-play, and they notice each other, and they basically thumbs up each other like, yeah, we did it, and of course, the camera pans to reveal like he still has every single one of the balls, from the one that belonged to his dad, the jacked up one, the fake one that they made, and the chewed up one, and then it shows a picture of them as kids, and that's the end of it. I mean, that's SANDLOT for you. I mean, this movie, what can I say about this movie? It's good. To me, it's about, never giving up. The power of friendship. Never giving up. That's what I see. Never giving up is the power of friendship for me, because like look at the movie. If you look at actually the movie, the main character Smalls, he's nervous. He's shy. He can't play baseball to save his life. He's uncoordinated, and he's trying. He's trying. That's his main goal, to make friends and learn to play ball. And he never gives up and finally achieves that. And then the other main goal, is, Squints. He wants to win the heart of the beautiful woman of the town. What guy wouldn't want that? And of course he does. It's revealed he does. That who wouldn't want that? And each of them achieved their goal. Benny got to be the professional baseball player that he always wanted to be. And basically that's it. And of course they lose the ball. They try with all their might to get it back, and they achieve that. It's about it. That's what the whole purpose of this movie is. Never giving up, working on achieving your goals, and that's what's good about it. It's one good thing. In my opinion, this is one movie that can never be duplicated or remade. I hope Hollywood never does it. Listen to me, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. I've heard that they want to make a TV show for the Disney Plus thing, but in my opinion, it shouldn't be done. You can't mess with perfection. I mean, there were other sequels, but none of them hit that same mark. They had good parts, I ain't gonna lie, but none of them hit that mark. None of them hit that mark that SANDLOT did. It was so good. It still is. It is a classic. It is a classic for me. I grew up watching it. It was great. I loved it. Me and my cousins used to pretend to be, and whenever that scene came on with Ham and the rivals, knocking, trading insults, we would mimic that. It was so funny. We like that part. And, in my opinion, what I would change, maybe, I don't know, You know, why not have the way they talk about the bees? You know, the beast being like the main antagonist in the dang thing, supposedly. Why not have him? You know, he stalks the first part of the movie, and then you don't hear from him for a while towards like the middle, all the way to the end. Why not have him like stalk him throughout the movie or something? Like he gets out every once in a while and he's following him around. You know, kind of like Cujo a bit, or Man's Best Friend. You know, that would be interesting to see. Why not? You know, that would be interesting to see. Why not see? I mean, Mr. Myrtle, we don't see him until like the end, except in a flashback with Squints when he's telling the backstory. Why not have him show up from once in a while, like peek out his window and see them? You know, you don't see him, but you hear him like, oh, those kids, oh, those brats, shut up, or something like that. You know, something like that. You know, at least give us a hint of him, because you don't get a hint of him till the end. And he was a nice man. You know, have him watch them play ball or something like that, and they're like, that's when they notice that he's a creepy man, because there's no, like, other than Squint's backstory, there's no actual evidence that he's a bad guy, you know, because you don't know, you just know he's a mysterious man, you know. And of course, I know why they didn't show him, to build up more suspense, make it kind of creepy, you know, but, you know, that would have been interesting to do. I mean, it would have been cool to do. But other than that, I mean, it's a good flick. It's an awesome family flick. Other than a few, you know, choice words, insults. Of course, there's a little bit of, it's not risque stuff, but of course, there is, like, you know, a little kid basically checking out a beautiful woman that's kind of like sexy or lust or whatever a little bit, and of course nobody's gonna throw a fit about that. But yeah, that being a problem. But if you think it's cool for your kids to watch it, I say go for it. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with it. There's nothing wrong with it for me. I mean, I grew up watching it. The least, the worst I learned were those insults. Even though, and I've never said them. You know, I just said them for fun with my cousins, and that was just to play around and joke around. I mean, it was good. And of course, yeah, the movie promoted tobacco, which is unhealthy. You know, it's an unhealthy addiction. But compared to what everyone's promoting now, it's good. I mean, it's a good movie. You know, it's a classic. It's a good movie, and I recommend it for anybody. You know, if you have problems, then don't watch it. But in my opinion, check it out. It's a good film. You'll love it. I love it. You know, it's like, for me, it's right up there with Dark Crystal. You know, a lot of the good ones. It's like, it's close to my heart, close to my childhood. Yeah, a lot of other films that this guy created also were part of my childhood. Like he made First Kid, Radio Flyer, such a good film. But you know, Sandlot is number one for me. It's great. You know, I hadn't seen it in years. But when I got it, when I first bought it on DVD, and then, you know, ever for digital, I'm without fail, almost every summer, that's one of the ones that I'm always watching, because it's that good. I mean, that's my opinion on it. You know, that's my point of view on the movie. That's what the man said. That's what the man says. Okay, I said the corny catchphrase I'll never say again. But that's what I say about Sandlot. It's a classic. It's good. You know, little problems here and there, but that's it. I mean, of course, like I said, there were sequels, but the sequels were basically the Disney reboots of now. The Disney live action reboots and the Disney stuff that's happening now. That's what that was for me. Because nothing can, if you achieve perfection, for me, there are certain movies that achieve perfection, and Sandlot is one of them. And for me, unless, like, that cannot be duplicated, unless you find a good way to do it, you know, an intriguing good way to do it. But in my opinion, this movie is great as is. Even though I would change those little things, like I said. Oh, and also another thing I would possibly change was explain the rivalry. These guys show up like midway through the movie. We don't know who they are or what they want or whatever. We just know that they're the rivals. They hate each other, but we don't meet them till that particular part, and that's it. it would have made more sense to have the guys that they were playing in the beginning of the movie. I don't know if that was them or not. Be the rivals. That would make more sense. For me, that would be another thing I would probably change if I was rebooting this movie. Well, anyway, that's my point of view on Sandlot, on the '90s classic Sandlot. Well, what are y'all's thoughts? Do y'all like the movie? Do you hate it? What do you like about it most? What's your favorite scene? What do you hate about it? What would you change if you could? Tell me in the comments. Don't be shy. Hit that subscribe button, hit the notifications, leave a like or whatever you want. Drop me a message. Tell me what movies you want me to check out. I'd be more than happy to check them out and review. Yeah, just drop it in the comments. Drop it in the message. I love movies, man, and I'm down to review.